Thanks, that's all for today.
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 Thank you, that's all for today.
Thanks, that's all for today.
Thanks, that's all for today.
Thanks, that's all for today.
Hello and welcome back to Thanks That's All For Today, a podcast hosted by me, Harriet Mullen. Welcome back. I hope you're all having a lovely Sunday. It's great to be back, 2 episodes a week at the moment. I hope you're enjoying them. And huge thanks to my last guest, Isaac, for joining me on Wednesday. Now today I'm back with episode 7 with my agent and head of musical theatre division at TTA, Melissa Cursons, or Mel as I call her. In this week's episode, we chat all about Mel's career before she became an agent, how we became agent and client, and her do's and don'ts for auditions. So without further ado, here's episode 7 with my agent, Mel Cursons. Hello everyone and welcome back to Thanks That's All For Today, a podcast hosted by me, Harriet Mullen. And today I have a very, very special guest with me. I have my agent, Mel Cursons. Hello, Mel.
Hello.
How are you?
Very good. Yeah, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's so lovely to see you. I miss you.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
It has. It's been ages, absolutely ages.
It is very nice to see you. It's nice to see anyone, isn't it? But especially nice to see you.
I totally agree with you. I think in the last year, I've only really seen the postman. I've got a favourite postman now, Mel. Not in a rude way or anything like that, but I've got a favourite postman. That's the extent of my social life. So it's lovely to see you.
Yes.
And your gorgeous son earlier. It was so lovely. I haven't seen him since he was a baby, but he's so polite that he said he remembered me. Oh.
Yeah. Do you know what though? He's got a really weird memory. Like there's a chance he does, and tomorrow he'll get up and be like, do you remember when I wore my lemon... I was going to say leotard. He definitely wasn't in a leotard. I think we called them baby grows, and Harriet held me.
After she signed a contract. I love that. I love that. He's so lovely. Your children are absolutely beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. So we are recording this. Obviously, I am in my home, but Mel's in her gorgeous new home, her palace, looking gorgeous. I'm going to delve right into your credits and training, etc. Now, I know you as a very successful MT agent. I didn't know your performing history, and I obviously knew you'd been a performer, but I'm going to go into it now and go through your credits. If there's anything that you're like, oh, please add that. I will, for sure. So Mel is in charge of the musical theatre division at TTA, and her training was actually at the Hertfordshire Theatre School for 3 years. She has performed in showcases in the West End at the Fortune Theatre and Her Majesty's Theatre. Is that correct? Oh,
like, what? But as in graduating showcases?
Yeah.
That's where we graduated, yeah.
How cool.
Yeah. No, it was amazing. It feels like a long, long time ago.
I'm thinking that I did my like final year performances like in a classroom, and I didn't have all this graduation showcases. And honestly, to me, that's fab. Also, I didn't know this about you, but I was in Parma year before last, texting you about an audition, and you were like, oh my God, I love Parma. And I didn't know.
I remember that. Family holiday,
yeah. Family holiday. We want to go back for Dad's 60th next year. We love it there. But I read that you travelled around Europe singing in a variety of shows, including as a lead vocalist with a jazz band. I didn't know this.
Yes.
And that you lived in Mallorca for 4 years, performing in a variety of shows, including her own cabaret.
Yes, I did. I sort of lived the holiday lifestyle for far too long, traveling around hotels, like restaurants and stuff, and performing in a variety of shows. Yeah,
amazing. Literally getting paid to live the dream.
Yeah.
Did you get to wear great outfits? Because that's the perks of being a singer and doing shows like that. Like you get to wear fab outfits.
Yes, yeah, we did have good outfits, but no wigs, disappointingly.
Oh.
Do you know what? My career was 10 years and I never wore a wig.
Mel, would you like to wear one? I don't like wearing them. Do you see this hairline has been ruined by curvy grips and pin curls?
I feel like I would like to try it. I've had elaborate hairstyles, but never a wig.
What would you go for if you could wear a wig?
Probably a big, huge kind of disco afro, I think.
Unreal. We've got to make that happen.
So I think
We've got to
so.
make it happen.
It has to be.
That has to happen the next time I see you. Also, I've written here, TV, Asda.
I was the actual bum slap girl, you know, the Asda prize ding ding. That was me.
Oh
yeah.
My God, I had no idea.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh my God, that's Asda prize.
Obviously, Asda prize. And they have different adverts all the time. Sorry, my son's going to come in now.
That's okay.
Are you going to bed?
Good night, Rupert.
Love you. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
It was like Easter special or like a back to school. It was only on for like a month, but I was the they put a prosthetic bump on me, which is ironic because I feel like I've been pregnant my whole life. But at that stage I was not. And and I mean, Addison Lee came and picked me up and I had a wonderful day, took me home. It was very nice.
So I've got to ask, how did you audition to be the bum in Asda?
Do you know what? I didn't.
Oh.
My agent just rang me up one day and said, they've seen your picture, you've got it.
Oh my God, I love that.
Which never happened. Well, I mean, it does happen, but obviously not on my side of things at the agency. But
could that maybe happen to me? That would be great.
Can you imagine? We've written the Harriet show for the West End and we didn't tell her, is she free?
Yes, and there's also going to be a film and a book. Excellent. Love that. Love that. I've also got next to your TV credits, Holby City, Bad Education, and Radio Classic FM. Tell me.
Oh, so Classic FM was another commercial. I was like a glamorized walk-on. What it was one of the what are they called? You know, the adverts where it's made to look like a room full of normal people and then suddenly everyone's like a dancer and stuff.
Yeah.
What are they?
Like a flash mob.
Like a flash mob.
Yeah.
And so that was that one. Holby City, I was a regular extra for about 6 months.
Amazing.
They have, it's like its own actual hospital where even the extras are regulars, and like you get to know everybody, and it's a very kind of small, cozy environment. So I was part
great
of that.
Experience.
Yeah, it was. Do you know what? It really was. And watching people people that are very talented at working at their craft every day is kind of priceless. I think. I think that's really good. Like crew members and obviously the actors and everything. It's just very eye-opening.
How did you get into extra work? Because I've heard and have personal experience. I feel like it's so hard to get into extra work.
Yes, I joined a couple of extra agencies. I must have applied when I was about 20 for basically all of them. But there were names that kept popping up that this was 15 years ago that are still popular today, as far as I'm aware. And there was some that seemed to focus more on ethnic minorities and stuff. So being BAME, there were a couple straight away that were super interested. And because I lived North London, so I was close to like Elstree Studios and all of that, it just sort of all clicked into place. It is one of those things, but I've got lots of friends that never got a sniff of extra work, and I was doing it all the time. So yeah, it's very strange how it all works out.
And I just can't believe you are the Asda girl. I just can't.
I'm going to find it. I'm going to send it to you.
Please do. I love that. That is amazing. That's my favourite credit of all time, I think. before we get into sort of how we met, we have quite a unique client and an agent story, and probably why we get on so well. We have a good working relationship, but we do get on very well, and we've had some really lovely, very inspirational theatre trips, going to see like Beautiful and Dreamgirls, and I've seen some great theatre with you, which is really, really great to be able to have that relationship with your agent. You know, obviously you don't ever want to let them down, and you don't want to have that relationship where you're, you know, taking the mick and being like, no, I'm not doing that, or nudging. I didn't even realize you could nudge on Spotlight. That must be so annoying. Like on MSN, you can like nudge people. But I think we've got a great relationship, and it's a really good balanced relationship. And I feel like I can ring you after a first round or a recall or a final, and know that you not only sort of like hear me out, like what happened, but you're also like very calming for me, because I'm quite erratic after my auditions.
Sometimes we've spoken before when you've been like in a massive open and you've been there since like 3 a.m. And then when you think I'm up at like 7:30, you'll be like, should I still stay here? Or I'm still 2 miles away from the building.
We actually have, and I really love that you have a human way of, I know it sounds silly, but a human understanding with your clients, that actually, if you are like 3 miles away from the building at an open and it's 2:00 in the afternoon, and you know you're not going to get seen by 6, you will give me the honest sort of advice of like, actually, Harriet, you know, either A, you should wait it out because you're right for this show, or B,
you're going to get pneumonia.
You're going to get pneumonia, and they're actually looking for a different vocal type. So thank you.
Do you know what it is? At the end of the day, as an agent, you're kind of invested in your client. It's hard not to like them. So you can't just like worship somebody, like think somebody is a wonderful performer and really believe in them and not like them. Like I find that's a really hard line not to cross. So if I have a client who I feel is really talented, is going to work really well, be really successful, and they're really lovely, and I can have a glass of wine with them, then that is brilliant. That's the best thing. And honesty is super important both ways, I think. And this is something I've learned at TTA, is if you give honesty, you get it back. Yeah. And at the end of the day, if one side isn't honest, you're wasting time, and we don't have time to waste. There's literally nothing worse than wasting time. Yeah. So like, I feel really quickly with you, we just got on, and that was the foundation. I won't say, because we should tell the story. Yeah, I will. I just have to say as well, we have had some of the most hilarious situations in terms of like, you know, for Scylla, I had about 8 rounds, and obviously that's over a few months, and I rang you when you were at Glastonbury with good news. Yes. I rang you once when you were at a funeral. And then you remember? I rang you then, I think. I came out of it and was like, Harriet, I've got an email, I need to talk to you. Yeah, oh my gosh, it's always been at crazy times. And then also when you were on maternity leave and I was offered Scylla, I rang you and surprised you with the news. Yeah. But let's go back to a time in 2016. Gosh, when 5 years ago. When I went to the Actors Centre in London, and I'd seen an advert in the stage for TTA, and they were looking for musical theatre performers and actors and dancers and singers, and I think there was about 50 people to 70 people there. It was a big open call. I think it was like, I say it was an open, we had to email first. You had to email and be kind of, there was a system of approval. So things like, if you hadn't trained at kind of a recognisable London college, then you would need to have backed up your application with some links to showreel footage and that kind of thing. So you snuck it in that way somehow.
Yeah, I know. Somehow, without any drama school credit on my CV. It was a really momentous day because I went to London, and that day I stayed overnight with my best friend Giselle, and she was doing some buying for her dad's company, and I auditioned for a kids drama school to be a teacher that day, and then later on for TTA. And so it was like, this is my make or break going to London. Lol, only 2 auditions. And I was like, this is it, make or break me making it. Funny. Oh, naive. So I was deciding to move away from Brighton, and I was like, I'm going to London. And I hadn't gone to drama school, obviously, as we know. And obviously back then I had no idea about dressing for your castability or dressing as a blank canvas. I literally thought it was the brighter the better. So Mel, can you remember what I was wearing?
So loosely, like an all-in-one, I want to say catsuit because it was a bit disco dancey as opposed to like casual jumpsuit.
It was a full-on catsuit.
And I feel like it was glittery.
Yeah, it was. It had stars on it. It was glittery.
And like a hole to neck, I think, and then like down to your toes, and a bright purple leather jacket.
Which was iridescent as well.
Like a biker jacket, yes.
It was. And I have to say, I was living in Brighton at the time. I'm still extra AF, but it was all about going to record companies and like standing out and I'd been in a girl band, and it was like, make your mark. Totally different to musical theatre. Like looking at me there, you'd probably just think Starlight Express, like what are you wearing? I think I probably quiffed my hair as well. So yeah, we had to sit around, say an interesting fact, and then I remember I really liked Andy. I thought he was really funny.
Everyone always likes Andy. When I interviewed for them, I really liked Andy.
For a group audition, it was one of my favourites. I met actually some really nice people there. It was a really great day. And then at the end of the day, I was absolutely buzzing because I was like, this is easy, this bit. I've just got to go in and sing. This is the easiest bit. I've got through the hardest bit. I was buzzing. I was like waiting to go in. I sat on the chair right by the door. And then I think you said something like you needed to go or somebody needed to go. And you were like, I'm just going to watch one more before you had to go, or someone had to.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, you are the MT lady. I want to be seen by her. And I'm going to hand the story over to you now because I think you'll tell it much better. So
Well, I remember you reminded me of like a glittery disco ball, and also my former self as like a 14-year-old disco competition dancer.
I had a red lip on as well, probably.
Yeah. So I was a bit like, oh, she's come kind of to the wrong thing. I think, I'm not sure she thinks she's looking for an agent. I'm not sure. And you sang One Night Only from Dreamgirls. And I guess I would say I had quite a traditional training at my college, and it was kind of to know your castability and kind of know who you are and what the panel are looking for and that kind of thing. And then lovely slim redhead comes in dressed as a disco ball and sings.
Oh, and by the way, little disclaimer, I actually chose that song because at the time where I was in the music industry, it was all about bringing that massive song, that huge money note song to an audition. I didn't think about it being my castability. I wasn't in that musical theatre kind of mindset at the time. It was genuinely pick a song that you love to sing, that you can really show off to. And that is why I chose that song.
Yeah, great song. Everyone loves it. And I mean, I see like where you were coming from now. We didn't see it at the time. Because also you came in so bright and bubbly, and then obviously you've got this big, lovely kind of soul belty voice that nobody saw coming out of the glitter ball.
No.
And I think Andy, bless him, was like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. And I remember sitting next to Leonie and saying, that's our TV and film agent, and saying, who is she?
It's so funny. I like, honestly, to go from the music industry where it's all about like stand out, be different, take risks. I just wanted to sing my show off song. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I
You know
remember
what though? Wouldn't it be nice if everyone could just turn up wearing their favourite thing, feeling really kind of jazzy on that day, sing the song that they know they can smash? Wouldn't that be a lovely world?
Wouldn't that be great? And that's why my first job was keep dancing, because that's exactly what that audition was.
Yeah.
And what was funny was when I got that first audition through, you were like, I think you're going to have to ignore what I said about not singing Dreamgirls, and you're going to have to do a big soulful disco number. And they've requested that you wear something like fabulous to the audition. How funny. But I have to say, you said at the end of the audition, like, you know, if you want to back up your application, send in a show reel. So I went home, I got the news the next day that, funnily enough, I didn't get TTA's representation. And I thought, oh, I'm really disappointed. I thought it went really well. And I sent you a 22-minute show reel, lol, of all my gig experience and shows that I'd done at BIM. And she's a very music industry type of show reel. And you emailed me back like, hi, Harriet, I really enjoyed your show reel. Please, could you come for a meeting? So I was like, oh my gosh, yay. They did like me. So I get the St. Albans address. I go there.
I feel like there must have been a few weeks between it though, because I had absolutely no idea it was you. And I feel
spoiler alert, Mel. I'll just come into that.
Sorry.
Okay. So the few weeks later, it was a good few weeks later, and I turn up at the offices and I quickly find out that you have no idea who I am.
Yeah, can I just say, I remember watching your 22-minute show reel and genuinely thinking, okay, so this girl isn't from musical theatre, like that's not what she's done so far, but isn't she cracking? And I just thought, she is like nobody else I've got. She's got such a talent there. I must bring her in. So she must come to the office and we must meet her. So that's what happened. I think I remember cranking it up. Like if somebody does something really good, when we all used to be in a tiny office all together, I'd be like, hang on, come listen to this, everyone, and crank it up and everyone have a listen. So I think that's what happened with you. And I can remember even your headshot that you had running over your show reel as well. I remember that.
Honestly, I just came from a different world. It's so funny because I had no idea it was different. I feel like so annoyed at myself that I had no real idea. I thought they were very similar, music and theatre. Absolutely not. So I go in and I suddenly realise Leonie's looking at me like, I know you. And you're like looking at me as well, and Andy. And then I think you're like, can you just give us a minute? And then you go into another room. God knows, I don't know what was said, but you all come out again. And Leonie's like, did we meet you before? And I'm like, yeah. I'm thinking that you knew. I'm like, I was at the Actors Centre. And you're all like, oh, right. And he drops. Not sure if you put two and two together that I was the spaceman at this point, disco ball. It was hilarious. And I just thought, oh, I've blown it. Like, I remember getting on the, like, leaving and I had a really lovely meeting with you guys, and you spoke to me about what roles I'd like to play and things like that. And I remember getting on the tube afterwards and ringing, I can't remember who I rang, but I was like, blown it. That's going to look so shady. And I genuinely thought you'd like remembered me and called me in because I'd had such a good audition day. And I was like, that looks so shady. I remember speaking to you afterwards and you were like, it was proactive. It doesn't happen like that often. But here we are 5 years later. And I can't believe it.
Yeah, it shows how people, some people I feel are supposed to kind of walk a bit together, I suppose. Because there was so much opportunity there for us not to have connected professionally. It happened.
And so what would you say are the main things if you were attending a agent audition, maybe like a few tips that you could give to listeners or specific to you at TTA, what are like the main 3 things that you'd look for in a potential client?
I would say somebody well presented, somebody that shows their personality. It's basically going to come across as everything that you did, but don't do it. Like, so if somebody has a particular style, then you should show that, and you should definitely appear as though you've made an effort. So if a guy turns up with a shirt that's not ironed, that makes us question how much you want it. That kind of thing. Or if you have buttons, like girls or guys, anyone, buttons that don't do up, like the shirt or the dress doesn't fit properly.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
Yeah, because it's like an interview, isn't it?
Yeah. I think you have to present yourself in the best way possible and be polite, but don't be a zombie. Be memorable for being kind of the wonderful person that you are. Don't just, like, I think I used to do it when I was young, is try and give the answers that I thought people wanted when they ask you the question.
Yeah, definitely.
When you might be thinking something slightly different, but you're like, no, they want me to say that I've been singing, acting and dancing since I was 2, but that's not what people want actually. Well, like, they want to know kind of who you are, and not the same kind of drivel that everyone could say.
And what would you say about song choice and cuts? Would you say that my choice?
Who knows, Harriet? Since representing you, I question everything. Who knows? What are the rules? I would say
send a 22-minute show reel after you've been told no.
No, really make sure that the song suits you and that you can sing it. And I definitely used to pick songs that I loved when I used to sing, as opposed to songs that I could sing really well. And it's hard to know, because you feel better singing the songs that you love. It's hard to know when it's down to you. It's hard to know yourself really well and say, actually, you're not smashing Tina Turner, which is what I always used to love doing. So I would say definitely kind of know your limitations, and limitations are fine, but you must know them.
Yeah.
Fab. I was thinking, do you know, on a panel, and this is my personal opinion, when you're on a panel and you're listening to people singing at you all day, do you know what gets me is 50 ballads back to back, but people go into auditions and they sing ballads because they think it shows that they're a superb actor and that they can do a sad face and they can kind of relate to the song and get emotional and cry and all of that. But for me, auditioning for an agency, like I want to see, again, I want to see your personality. I want to see when you go into a West End audition, if people are going to remember you for your chat and think, oh yeah, this person is somebody that I'd like to go for a drink with, that kind of thing. So for me, a big one is, if you don't have to do a ballad, then maybe don't. Like even if you are truly a wonderful singer, I feel like happier song is a safer bet.
And on that note, I do actually find, by the way, it harder to find good upbeat songs with good storytelling.
Yes, it's really hard.
To ballads. I think we were talking about this in a podcast the other day, like something like Anastasia for a pop rock. She's got quite a lot of yeah.
That was show reel.
That was the one, Baby Harriet. I think I was about 20 in that
Baby
video.
Harriet.
Baby with a quiff. But it is funny when they ask for upbeat. Oh my gosh, do I stress? Because I think naturally we think ballads have more of a storytelling side to them. But you're right. I can imagine if you're listening to the same kind of style all day, every day, that is hard. Have you got any like major do's and don'ts in auditions when you're on the panel?
Definitely leave whatever is going on in your life behind you when you come in. And don't tell us that you're ill. That's such a big one. And I feel like everybody feels the same, but people still do it. everyone's ill at some stage, yeah, but it's that kind of thing. If you've got a cracking personality and we can hear that you're ill and we can hear that you can also sing really well and we like you, that's probably enough, like at least to take it further and investigate more, you know. That's a really big one. Timekeeping is a big one. There's literally no excuse for it. It's hard, like the trains can be crap, we all know that, so make sure you are checking your train every 10 minutes for 3 hours before you need to get on it. Like, keep doing that. Make sure that train is going to get you to where you need to be. And obviously there are circumstances sometimes where you get on the train and it's not going to take you. Like, these things do happen, but make sure you can say you tried, like you absolutely tried your hardest to get there. And be nice. That's the big one. And just prepare yourself for the unexpected.
And have you got any songs that you're like, please don't sting? Have you got any songs that you're like, please do not sing? I've heard them so many times. Or are you still happy to hear Heart alone?
It really depends on who's going to sing it. Honestly, there are some songs that sung by the right person. I could hear that song 50 million times that day. If people are going to just come in and continue to smash it, that's fine. But it just comes back to make sure you have got a good song choice for you. I don't think there's any songs that I really dislike. It's a bit, I would say it can be a bit different on the children's side because we have the children's agency.
Yeah, of course,
we give the children a choice to sing or not to sing, because it's like children that can act and sing. If you hear Castle on a Cloud 5 million times a day, like that gets you a bit. I would say Castle on a Cloud is probably my ultimate. And sometimes you get a 25-year-old try to sing it, you know, like, yeah, it's weird things like that, and you think, oh gosh, I already dislike that song out of the context of the show, and you're 25, why? It's about who chooses a song, not the actual song. You know, if there's that one note in that song that tells everybody if you are a truly competent singer or not, and yes, you can do that at home in front of your mirror, but you know you get nervous, do not take that song to an audition. Don't do it. And I used to do that as well. I've murdered some stuff. Just don't do it. Make your life easier and pick songs that you can sing.
And do you think a cut is recommended, like a 16 bar?
Always have your 16 bars. I think auditioning for the agency, like being on the panel, when people come in, you largely make a decision on kind of the first 4 bars, say. So imagine if you've picked the start of a really slow song and nothing really has happened. You've just wasted like 10, 15 seconds. You've just absolutely wasted it. Like, find that bit of the song where it comes alive and just start there. It doesn't matter that we might not know the context of the 2 minutes before the song. We just want to see like the rounded performance. So that best 16 bars is great. And prepare your music. That's such a big, massive one.
Oh, yes.
Like I always learnt to sellotape your music together, lay it out beautifully. Don't take the book in from the show. Don't take the whole of Cats in when you're going to sing 16 bars, because no one wants to be fiddling with all those pages. And if you go in and don't sellotape it, what's the pianist supposed to do when he's sat by a window with a little breeze? Like, just use your mind, use your brain. It just shows that you didn't think it through. And employing anyone in a show, taking on clients in an agency, they're gonna want to know that you are going to, like, you've got it and you understand the bigger picture, and you're making life as easy as you can for the people that are giving you their time to hopefully like try and take your career further.
Definitely. So I want to play a little game with you, Mel. This game is called Audition Styles, but I've put in brackets as an agent.
But that's a lot easier because I haven't performed.
That's why I wrote it. I'm very kind.
Apart from to my two children every day, they get 3-act performance.
Let's talk about quickly though. Rupert has been in his own.
Yeah, he's been
Start them young, Mel.
Yeah, in a skincare commercial at 6 months old, bless him, through TTA. But yeah, it's just, he absolutely showed me, do you know what, being on the other side, like kind of as a parent and not showcasing myself, you're able to take a step back, kind of watch the whole thing unfold at an audition and actually on the job. And that also was a very valuable experience because I know that if it was me being hired, I would have felt totally different to, like, obviously Rupert, 6 months old, didn't even know. We went to Poland. He didn't even know he was like in Poland. He didn't know there was 50 people filming him whilst he was trying to go to sleep and in the bath with loads of crew around him and stuff. Like he just didn't know, and kind of, that's a nice perspective to have, like just bring yourself to an audition, to a job, bring yourself and let the rest happen. Whereas I'd have been stressing, going, oh, is my acting in the bath good enough? Am I being believable in the bath? You know, like you'd be like, am I focused? Am I focused?
Am I doing the acting that I'm supposed to be doing? Yeah, rather than just being.
Had a lovely time. I think that is part of it. Just go and have a lovely time. Enjoy yourself. That's one I didn't mention earlier. Go to an audition and enjoy yourself. Mm-hmm.
Fabulous. So, as an agent, these audition styles for your clients, it's a quick fire round. Here we go. Imagine me, okay? Imagine just thinking of me, okay?
Yeah.
I've gone to an audition. Would you rather feedback or no feedback?
So sorry, as an agent, would I like to give feedback or not?
No, as in, but I've never
fail.
Okay, thanks. That's all for today. No, as in, like, say for example, let's just imagine you are my agent. I was going to say, imagine you're my agent. Imagine, Mel, try really hard. Imagine you're my agent and I've gone to auditions and I've gone to an audition.
Right.
Would you like, as an agent for your client, would you like feedback?
Okay. So, yes, I would like feedback. I feel there is a time and a place. If you are going in for 20 rounds for a West End show and the first round was a big dance call and you got cut, I mean, text me.
Yeah,
that's fine. Obviously there's always things can go wrong and you might need to talk. Then everyone knows, fine, if you need to call me, but like we're super busy. If you can text. But obviously when you get on to like round 19 of 20, I want to know exactly what happened, exactly what was said to you, and kind of how you felt it went. Because I think at the end of the day, we should, I say, support each other. That as an agent, you want your client to do well. You need to invest your time and kind of care in them. And no, like for you, for example, I know, like my experience as an agent, you are a girl that doesn't mess up.
Oh, thanks, man.
So,
that's really kind.
I feel like everyone messes up in auditions, but not Harriet. Harriet doesn't mess up. Harriet is the girl that will ring me after an audition, and it will be about what they said after you sang, as opposed to what you did. Because and that's a great way to be, because I just know you did Harriet. You did Harriet.
Yeah.
Harriet sang, and Harriet did a great job. She didn't let herself down. She definitely didn't let anyone else down. and that's great. Let's talk about what they said and try and get to grips with what's going to happen, and we're always wrong, so.
Oh my God, Mel. I mean, I'm not going to divulge some of our hypotheses and theories and things, but I feel like we're always wrong. And then.
Well, we discuss a scenario and it's always something else because you just don't know what's.
I had a really intense experience once, and I remember ringing you and being like, this is what was said, and then I got a final after it, and I was honestly thinking like, this is the end of this.
Yeah,
you just don't know. There's always a place in London where I go and call you, Mel. It's by the Starbucks Reserve in Leicester Square, and there's like a car park and bin area, and I circle it and circle it on the phone to you. And I must say, there's been some phone calls where we've been on the phone for about 45 minutes. So sorry.
No, but sometimes things need to be discussed. But again, it's kind of knowing yourself as a performer, whether it warrants a conversation or not, I guess. And I'm just thinking of all this stuff to change everyone's lives with. Believe in yourself. Like, don't go to an audition thinking that you're probably not going to get it because you're probably not good enough. Believe you can smash the song that you picked because you picked a song that you sing really, really well, and just go and do it. Don't overthink it. Just go and do your best. Just don't tell yourself anything less, because there will be people in that room that will do it better than you if you think you're not going to do it well.
Is it okay to tell your agent, because I know I've done this actually with you before. Oh my God. It's not that bad, but it's a Harriet Mullen question. I've probably asked you the strangest questions as a client. Is it okay to tell your agent that you didn't like the panel and that you wouldn't want to work with them?
Yes. Again, it comes back to that relationship you have with the client. So if I get on really well with my client, and I feel like we have a good understanding of each other, and you're going to turn around to me and say that was a terrible audition, like I feel like I did my bit but they weren't very nice, and they said this and this, and there was someone sat in the waiting room who was very upset, and like, you know, you're painting a bigger picture of a situation that was not good, then that is helpful, because as an agent, I'm going to look further into that then and send an email to production and see what's happening and what event has occurred. So I feel like, and again, it comes down to that honesty. I would rather know than not know. The worst thing is when something goes down, which is hardly ever, but historically things happen from time to time, and somebody contacts me and my client hadn't mentioned it. Like, that's the worst. Like, come and tell me.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes, like, when you get to the 55th recall and you have to prepare 3 parts of a monologue or 3 scenes or something and 2 songs, and you had a day to do it. Like, sometimes this happens and you just get loads piled on you, and you turn up for the audition and they go, oh, can we hear your own song? And you didn't bring your rep folder, which it has happened historically, or something similar, you know. And then a casting director will email me and go, oh, it was lovely to see so-and-so today. Like, their prepared material was really good. Unfortunately, they didn't bring their rep folder. And I'm just like, I had no idea. I would rather I'd rather be on my toes with that and know what has happened.
I can think of a situation where I had a final and had to learn like 2 monologues overnight, and you had correspondence with the panel and said, like, is it okay if she's not off book?
Because I remember that one.
And that was a really good situation. And then the next day, the casting director said, you can have your lines in front of you. Yeah. So it's great.
And they're super appreciative as well of your effort, because it's super difficult to achieve that in a night. And we are all only human.
We are. That's so true. Back to our audition styles. Do you prefer your clients to audition for casting directors that you know or that you've never worked with before?
I mean, the industry is pretty small, so new people crop up, but generally there's more often than not there's a story. So they were a casting assistant for somebody and now they're on their own or something like that. So you've actually known of that person. But I wouldn't say I prefer either, really. It's nice to know who's calling you up, like to think you have a bit of a relationship with the casting director, but it really doesn't, I don't know, does that help? It doesn't really really matter to me either way.
And do you prefer to have multiple clients up for a role or just one?
That's a tricky one, Harriet.
Sorry.
I mean, if it's a huge role and you've got 5 people going for it, then you've got a better chance that somebody is going to get it. So that's good. But at the same time, like when you were down to the last few for Scylla, the anxiety.
Oh my God.
I felt like I needed to give you my time. And if there'd have been 3 people up for that role from TTA, that would have been hard work because there'd have been 3 different stories coming out all the time. And
God.
It would have been super hard. I think maybe it's easier to keep it
just one.
Simple. Yeah, and it's rare. Like, why are you representing 5 Scyllas? Like, I would say as well. Like, as an agent, as an agent, I might put 3 girls up for a role because they've all got an edge of something, but that edge will be different. Like, imagine if I had 5 Harriets,
they'd all be vying for your attention. You only need one Harriet, Mel. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. You only really need one of anyone. Yeah. So, yeah.
Also, last 2 questions in the game. Do you prefer open or closed auditions for your clients?
Closed. Yeah, closed is best. Am I supposed to elaborate? Was this supposed to be a quick fire round?
It's okay. It's fine. I've only got one more game after this, so it's totally fine. I'm loving it. The content is there. I'm loving it.
I feel like closed is better because you know that client has been looked at and their reels have been watched and they are there for a very specific reason, as opposed to, again, sometimes as a performer, what you want, what shows you want to be in sometimes can override what show or what role you are suited to. So sometimes when you're going for opens, you can be going in a bit blind, but when it's been channeled a little bit and people have already looked at you, 9 times out of 10, that is more productive.
And as an agent, do you prefer your clients going for short contracts or long contracts, or do you mind?
Generally, the bigger jobs like West End, touring productions, international stuff, cruises, they are longer contracts for a reason, because of like the massive rehearsal periods, and that they want to invest time and energy into specific cast members, things like that. I would say longer contracts, and you feel like you're on a journey with a client that's in a longer contract. I think longer contracts are the dream.
Amazing. And do you feel more attached to your client getting a certain role if they've had a longer audition process?
Not necessarily. No, I would say with you, as we always discuss, there's always a story to tell. Like, there is always, but I think it's because you don't sit inside a casting box.
Yeah,
so
you always say I've got a story.
Yeah, but there always is. Always is. It's never a smooth, easy process, but it's always worth the ride. Whereas there are some people that I think go into an audition room, some clients are just exactly what someone is looking for, and they know maybe from the first round that they wanted them, and then by round 3 it's signed, sealed, delivered. But then it's still a joy to kind of do that journey with them. Yeah, I think it's kind of horses for courses.
Fab. I'm going to ask you one question, then we'll do the final game before we go. I just wanted to know, Mel, how you went from being a performer to being an agent. What was the process?
Wow, this is fairly ridiculous. So I was a performer doing part-time teaching work, like a lot of people do. And my bosses, who are the directors of TTA, but they run a part-time stage school across Hertfordshire, out actually and other places. They were saying that they were looking for this is like a you story. They were looking for a finance assistant, I think, in the office. And I knew of another girl who I thought I might quite like to work with, who was in the office and had just started, which is now Tony, who is the children's agent. I get on really well with Tony. I thought, well, if Tony can do it coming from a similar background in the office, then maybe I can. I didn't pay too much attention to the fact that it was like a finance job and I have absolutely nothing to bring to that table apart from a B at GCSE maths. But because I knew Andy and Warren, I just said to them one day at school at the weekend, I said, I see you're advertising for the job and I think I'd really like to go for it. I think I approached Andy and he laughed. And I was like, no, honestly, like, I think I'm reasonably intelligent. I was quite good with my B at maths GCSE, somebody that never really applied themselves. Like, if I'd applied myself, I probably could have got better. So I just said, look, I think I'm a nice person to work with in an office. I can make tea and I really like your dog. That was Dottie at the time. So I was like, can you just pull me in for an interview, please? And he was still laughing, but in the end he did it. And he sent me, it was horrible. Like, he said, can you use Excel? And I was like, oh, absolutely. And then I live with my friend who has a big serious job in the city. And I was like, can you please teach me everything you know about Excel tonight? And I was watching YouTube videos and I mean, it was just a disaster. He put a spreadsheet in front of me and he got all these like potential finances in a spreadsheet and there was like 10p missing somewhere. Like, he's like, you've got 20 minutes, find the 10p. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. I actually didn't. I couldn't do it.
No.
So he then talked me through it and said, this is where you've messed up. And I was like, cool, okay. Walked out of there thinking, no way. But Andy and me got on really well. And I think he just saw that in time, like I could assist and in time something else might come of it with my performing background. And yeah, gradually it happened.
Do you think it makes you a better agent because you've been a performer?
What are you going to say? Because I did the finance stuff. Yeah. I did do that for probably about 8 or 10 months.
Yes, Mel, I never knew that about you.
I feel like it definitely makes me a better agent because I understand firsthand what it's like to stand in front of a panel and kind of express yourself and be really open and honest to people. Like, that's scary. And I think if you've never done it, you just won't understand what that's like. And things like, you've got a night to learn 3 massive monologues, because let's face it, Harriet, it was 3.
Yeah.
And the fear that if you've never been made to learn stuff quickly, you won't know.
No, I know.
You just won't know what that's like. So yeah, for me, I feel like it makes me a better agent because I've lived it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're good with song choice as well. And also you will advise me on things like headshots and like what to wear, what you want from the photos. It's not just like, can you just go and get a couple of photos? You're quite specific.
Oh gosh. And that is what I thought it was when I was a performer, was, I'll just get my uncle to take some photos, because I actually got my uncle to take my first set of headshots, and he was, I don't know what you call it, he was like a photographer for an estate agent.
Oh, okay.
So he took photos of houses, and that was his living. So he was a photographer, but he certainly wasn't a headshot photographer. And he took my first ever graduating headshots. And you just think now, I spend all day long looking at headshots, looking at clients that I represent's headshots, looking at people that I don't know's headshots that are applying to the agency, looking in programs at headshots.
Yeah.
It's, I believe, unless you spend all day doing that, you kind of have to learn to look at headshots, and you learn what is a good headshot and what's not a good headshot. So headshots are a vital one.
Can you put into words what is a good headshot and what is not?
For me, headshot needs some vibrancy. It needs to capture your best features. So like for you, and I know I've said it before, I would want to see the colour of your hair, because that's a very distinguishing feature. If you've got dark hair and a beard, say, and you're stood in like moody setting, like a greyish dark background, that's not going to work for me, because you're going to look like one big beard, like with two little eyes. Like, it doesn't work. And yet you've got a great look, but you just look like a big walking beard. Go somewhere where there's good light. And some of my favourite, well, I've got two favourite photographers. I think it'd be unfair for me to mention who they are, but they're both quite into the kind of moody setting, but there's a time and a place for it. And they also kind of take you on a big cycle of light. So you might start in a moody setting, but then before you know it, you're outside and you're really well lit, and then you've got a white background in a studio again and you're really well lit. And again, it's just knowing what you are bringing to the table and making sure you're with a photographer that knows what you can bring to the table and brings that out in headshots. And again, show your personality, wear stuff that you like to wear within reason, Harriet.
Oh, God's sake. I really, really wanted to wear that iridescent jacket to my next headshots.
But yeah, don't just wear black. If you're a big, like, fruity, colourful person, don't just wear your black t-shirt, because that's boring, and you're not going to, like, if you're not a serious like classical actress that just does classical acting, leave your black t-shirt at home. Like, wear something else, but no to polo necks, turtlenecks. No,
can't bear it. I didn't know that. Before we finish, I've just got a couple of questions. I've got like a game. I normally play Never Have I Ever. One of my questions was, do you prefer text, email, call from client? But we think we've established text.
Yeah, it really depends. There's a time and a place. And all my clients are on WhatsApp, like, with me. So most things can be done quickly via WhatsApp. But then there's a time when I need to talk to all of them. So,
have you ever guessed or predicted an outcome?
Not with you.
Never.
No, do you know what? It's so hard. It's really tricky to know what anyone wants ever. That you've just got to try and put your people that are most suitable for it, and hope that the casting team, production company, see the same thing. But you can put your client forward that you think is 100% the one, and they don't see the same thing. So yeah, you just got to base submissions on facts and let the rest take over, I suppose.
Is there anyone you call when you get good news about a client? Because I always ask people who they call after an audition, but what's it like for you when you find out your client's booked a job?
I call two people. I call my partner, who is an electrician, and over time he has learnt to love shows and he's really embraced it, bless him, and he hears all about the dramas of the theatre industry. And sometimes you can see he really isn't that interested, but he gets it anyway. And my mum, because my mum was a big stagey mum and always wanted me to be a wonderful performer, and I feel like she shares in the success that I share of my clients. She enjoys it. I remember, like with you, when I told her that you were going to be in Scylla, she was overjoyed because obviously she's of the generation of all that music, and she just thought it was the best thing ever.
Oh,
yeah, she really did. She thought it was wonderful. And I think there was a little article in the newspaper about it, and she sent it to me in the post.
Oh, love her. Love her. Oh, that's so lovely. I'm also following on from that question. Do you get as much excitement from past performing life and being on stage? Is that now kind of like transferred into excitement for seeing clients on stage? Is it like you mentioned about the shared experience, or is it just totally different feeling?
No, I think it's very similar feeling. It's the strangest thing to explain, but I remember when I drove up to Hull to see you, and that was like 4.5 hours or something, and pregnant, as I always am, and got there, and I just remember waiting for the show to start, and it's just the best feeling when you see your client on stage. I don't know, it just, I get all the feels. I get the adrenaline. There's nothing better. I think that's why we do what we do, isn't it? Otherwise, I'd go get a job somewhere else, but I can't, because it's the one. That's why we are who we are.
Amazing. And finally, do you have, as an agent, any superstitions at all about, like, you know, if I highlight this person's name in pink, they'll get the job, or if I anything at all?
No, all I would say is it's not superstition, is that as an agent you have to get stuff done. Like, you can't, as an agent, you can't say, oh, I'll do that in an hour. And like you said, I'm good at, if I get feedback from a casting director, I will pass that on, and I will pass it on quickly, because if I don't pass it on quickly, someone else is going to take my attention, and I'm going to forget, or I'm going to run out of time in the day. Like, so when something happens, it's just being really good at getting stuff coming in, throwing it back out. Like, stuff comes in for clients, throw it out. Stuff comes in, throw it out. Submissions on Spotlight, do them. Like, you can't stop.
No. Amazing. Mel, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you. I normally end with a piece of advice from my guest, but I feel like there is so much that you've put into the episode that I don't think there's any. Look at all my like crossings out, ticks and notes and everything. There's just one before we go. Can you say no to your agent?
Yes, absolutely you can. Again, generally, the better you know a client personally, you're not going to get the no's. Like, everybody has their limitations, things that they will and won't do. And I feel like I don't really get no's, but then there are exceptions sometimes. I might have put you up for a show for different religion or a belief or something that you feel really strongly against, then of course you must say no.
Yeah.
You must never get involved in something that you don't believe in or that you're really against. Absolutely not. But yeah, if it's something that is kind of affecting your daily life, then absolutely come and say no. But generally you won't need to, because your agent will understand you fairly well anyway.
So true. So true. Well, Mel, thank you so much. All I have to ask now is for you to say our outro, which is thanks. That's all for today.
Thanks. When do I do it?
You got the job, Mel. I'll stop talking, but if you could just say thanks, that's all for today, that will sign us off nicely. But thank you so much for chatting with me. I was like, yeah, we'll be an hour, but sorry that it overran, but it was so nice to talk to you.
No, it's lovely to talk to you.
So lovely to see you. I will let you do the outro, and then I will stop recording.
Thanks. That's all for today.
Woohoo!